guys, welcome to
the brand new podcast, Young and in Love.
Young and in Love.
This is the podcast, Young and in Love. Hello, young lovers, and welcome to another episode of Young and in Love. Young and in Love. Again, I'm Josh.
And I'm Taylor.
We're the Andersons. And this is Young and in Love. Young and in Love. Young and in Love.
Young and in Love.
This is Young and in Love. We're going to take a quick moment and highlight one of our sponsors, Anchor.
So if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let us explain.
It's free. All you need to do is download their app or visit their website, which is anchor.fm.
Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more.
They will literally take care of all of the distribution services, so all you have to do on the day of is hit publish. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone using an app or computer if you'd much rather just use the website.
You can even make money from your podcast without even having one listener.
Yeah, without a single listener, they'll find sponsors that are willing to give you a chance and give you a shot at making money.
It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
So all we ask is that if you have a story to tell or a message to share, that you download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. When I had an idea to start a podcast, I had no idea where to start. But I had listened to Candace and Casey's Couples Therapy, and they had mentioned an app called Anchor. And I was really intrigued to see how really simple it could be to make a podcast.
Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means that you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad.
So if you always wanted to start a podcast and make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's Anchor, as in ANCHOR.FM/START to join me in the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. I can't wait to hear your guys' podcasts.
And to go.
Welcome to another episode of the Young and in Love podcast. I'm your host, Josh.
And I am the co-host, Taylor.
And we are the Andersons. This is a podcast, our podcast. We decided on the name Young and in Love because we are both very young and very much in love. So we saw it as an opportunity to talk with one another and discuss anything under the sun about our relationship and hopefully share our experiences with everyone else so that they can feel that they're not alone in this world, in their journey to find a more perfect love and to be closer to their companion. So,
right. But as we've grown, for everyone, any new listeners that we're getting, we're also sort of segueing into more of a wider subject topic. So it's not just going to be just about love, as we do other things in our lives, other things happen, and I don't know, that's what our podcast is called, but that's not what we're sort of being held down to. So
yep, this is our story. It's our audio journal that we've decided to share with the world. So today we're going to be talking about a couple of things that we found from the Gottman Institute. The Gottman Institute is a research organization that focuses primarily on familiar relationships. So this is directly from their website, which is Gottman.com. Gottman is spelled with two T's, Gottman. And this is what they say on their mission statement. They say, "We understand that the human family is in crisis and that all individuals are capable of and deserve compassion. It is our mission to reach out to families in order to help create and maintain greater love and health in relationships. We are committed to an ongoing program of research that increases the understanding of relationships and adds to the development of interventions that have been carefully evaluated. It is our goal to make our services accessible to the broadest reach of people across race, religion, class, culture, sexual orientation, and ethnicity. We are also committed to the care and support of our Institute team, as we know that compassion must begin with ourselves. So, specifically, they talk about development of interventions here, which is what we're going to talk about. Not that our relationship is in desperate need of an intervention, but they call interventions quizzes. So you guys are most likely familiar with the quizzes that you'd find on Facebook or things like that say like, oh, what are your strengths in your relationship? Or what are your weaknesses? How can you improve? These are just a lot more research-based and professional quizzes. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be getting to those quizzes later. We also have an article here that was written about relationship growth and nature. So it was written by Hannah Eaton, who is a writer for the Gottman Institute, and she is also a marriage counselor that specializes in what's called like therapeutic retreats. So she takes married couples that may be struggling or maybe just looking for a different way to grow closer to one another, and she takes them out on like mini vacations. Mm-hmm. And helps them grow closer together as they experience something new and something different. And in this article, she talks about how relationships grow when they are in nature. And we had our own neat nature event yesterday. Would you like to share what we did yesterday?
We went kayaking in our kayak that looks like it should be a great kayak, but it is not a great kayak. We've had a lot of troubles, to say the least, with it, and this is the second time that I went with you out in it, and so far it hasn't been the best experience. I mean, I had fun together with you. I was definitely excited to go, and I think it's a little change in pace because we don't go outside like nearly enough together as I would like to, especially for living in Florida. But yeah, I mean, it just brings like a sense of like calmness, and then the fact that you're just experiencing like something so beautiful like together, I think it just automatically makes you feel connected because you're just out there, especially when you're in a boat together in water and you really can't leave.
Right. So
we're sort of forced to be there.
Yeah. Forced to get through together. So a couple of things that she's mentioned here in this article is she talks about her growing up and her parents instilling a strong sense of taking time out from everyday life to slow down and connect with the natural world. So she talks a lot about going to see spring blossoms in the mountains and looking up at places in Yosemite National Park, so walking through the valley there, and other things like that. And then as she got older, she started to lead adventure groups through or on retreats. And she talks about college-age students and couples and things. But she says that she's always deeply moved by the awe in her participants, in that they always seem to melt into a state of flow, wonder, delight, joy, relaxation, and connection with themselves and the world around them. It was as if the child in each of them had awakened. They all appear lighter, even glowing.
Mm-hmm. And I think one important thing to mention here is that this article wasn't just about couples. She was talking about all relationships between humans. So I think this particular group she took out, they were just a group of strangers, and she was watching how all the strangers started interacting. And so like when they first all got together, they were like really like awkward and like shy and like nobody knew each other. So nobody like knew what to say. And that's pretty normal, right? Because we're all like that when we first meet somebody, or it's like the first day of like class of a new semester and you're just like, don't talk to anybody. But then like by the time they were out there and like they were actually looking at stuff, like, and they're all like in awe, just taking it all in, they started to strike up conversation with one another and it just started flowing like really naturally and really easy.
Yep. She even cites a study from Stanford that shows that, or it was shown in this study that time spent in nature can lead to a lower risk of depression, anxiety, and stress, and an increase in overall health and well-being. So, nature is good not only for the relationship, but also for your personal growth and your personal development. So, she cites that when couples remove themselves from normal situations that they deal with on a day-to-day basis, they immediately put themselves in a place to start to look at their situations with different perspectives. She said that the learning situations and transformations that occur and take place are enhanced as we care for our physical, emotional, and spiritual states. So as we focus on these three things, physical, emotional, and spiritual, we as individuals will grow, as well as our relationships. So we focus on the whole person, which in turn accelerates powerful, deep, lasting change for all participants. So I think it's definitely an interesting way of going about it, because I know that it's very easy for us to fall into a routine on a week-to-week basis. And even when we go on vacation, like sometimes we don't set aside time to just experience it.
Right.
And then we sort of get caught up in the whirlwind of trying to make it a more valuable, quote unquote, a more valuable vacation experience, and we end up just like sort of stressing ourselves out by trying to do everything that we want to do or that we think is necessary. So yeah, that's that. I think it's a good point that she makes to separate ourselves from the normal everyday, but also to separate ourselves from society, put ourselves in different situations so that we have a moment to focus on the things that really matter.
Right.
And the things that we truly care about.
So I guess, how do you think that we do when talking about that, how do you think we do when it comes to, breaking out of the routine and trying to separate ourselves from the rest of the world just to focus on how we are doing and things that we can do?
Well, I definitely think we can always do better. I also think that it gets a little hard during the week. Mm-hmm. And we often like to fill up our weekends with activities. Lately during the summer, it's been a lot of travel.
Right.
But I know that you really like to plan ahead. And sometimes the serendipity or the spontaneous could really do us more. Could better improve, I guess, or the serendipity and spontaneous would be more beneficial to us than an actual planned date or a planned.
So as two busy people, how do you be more spontaneous when
I don't consider myself busy
going on? Oh, see, I think I'm.
You are very busy, but that's like who you are. You're a busybody. Like, you really like to just fill up your planner.
Right.
Like, if there's an empty slot in your day, you're like, no. There has to be something in that slot. There has to be something going on. Whereas if I look at my planner, the things that I have planned on a day-to-day basis are work from somewhere around 8:30 to somewhere around 5:30. So even my work schedule is sort of flexible. And then I play baseball on Wednesdays and Sunday evenings. I have church. That's pretty much the only thing that's set in stone, is that church starts at 10 and ends at 12.
So I guess I should schedule out my week, leaving ahead like a day. Just so
you're gonna plan your
spontaneous.
You're gonna plan in your spontaneity.
Gotta do what you gotta do, right? Does that count?
Yeah, as long as you leave room for it, I guess.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, so that's one step closer. I'll plan in Taylor being spontaneous with spontaneous actions.
But also just to just not plan so many things in one day. See, so like even if you do want to plan ahead, you're like, wow, I really want to go to Blue Springs, for example, because that's on our list of natural springs to visit. Then you just say, okay, let's go to Blue Springs. We know it's a spring, so we know there's a swimming hole. So we'll bring swimming trunks, we'll bring a towel, and we'll bring lunch. And that's it. Like everything else we figure out when we get there.
Right.
That is like, I think that could be an easy medium for you. All
right.
Yeah.
I can work on it. Does anybody else that's listening struggle with stuff like this, like me? I don't know if this is a common thing. Maybe I'm just abnormal, wanting to be busy. I just get bored. I don't like being bored. I work hard. I have a really hard work ethic. And I don't know, I just like helping people. So I just do that all day long because it makes me happy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like, does that stress you out? I feel like it could stress you out.
What?
The fact that I'm just so I am go like all the time.
No, it doesn't stress me out. Like that's not the word I would use. I do know that you stress yourself out, and that worries me, but it's not like I'm stressed about it.
Right.
So, but I know that you do have a hard time just sitting down and not doing anything. Because like even when the TV shows that you claim to be your favorite have slow moments, you immediately pull out your phone. and then you're scrolling on your phone, and then I sort of chuckle at something in your TV show, and then I look at you and you're on your phone and you immediately feel my gaze, so you just chuckle thinking, oh, something funny happened. So like, I think just focusing on one thing at a time and sort of enjoying the moment,
right,
is what we could all work on, right? Sort of working on that self-mastery,
right?
Just focusing on the here and the now.
Very true.
So she talks about how connection happens naturally. So we're gonna talk about this right now. She gives 5 ways that we can naturally stumble upon a connection with others. So the first step is having an open mind. Participants have an open mind and understand that they're the primary agents of change within themselves and their relationship. They enter the immersion willing to put forth energy and vulnerability to enhance their partnership, and they expect change to happen. I have this underlined twice because this is something that I truly believe in. This statement right here, that people, she refers to them as participants, but people are their own primary agents of change within themselves and their relationship. When I was serving a mission in Brazil, every week we would meet together as missionaries, and we'd go over just like minor things, minor training points, and we'd practice teaching to one another. And early on I was taught, and I don't remember who by, but I was taught that when you're teaching someone else, you can't force them to understand.
Right.
You cannot make them understand what you're teaching. If they misunderstand, then you're not teaching good enough, or you're not teaching well enough, because the only person that you can truly change is yourself, forced to change. Mm-hmm. So I sort of, that hit me pretty hard in the moment, and I've kept it with me ever since, that if I ever do something or like want to connect with someone, or I'm communicating with someone and they don't understand, then that's my fault. Mm-hmm. That's not their fault. So it's always up to me to make that change. And that's the point that she's making here, that we are the primary agents of change within themselves and their relationship. So if we see our relationship is going poorly, the first question shouldn't be, why is my relationship so bad? It should be, what can I do better to make the relationship better?
Yeah. And sort of evaluate yourself first versus taking all your expectations and blame and putting it immediately on your spouse.
Yeah. All right. Step 2, unplugging to recharge. She says that they have all their participants take a hiatus from their phones and technology during the retreats. Obviously, especially nowadays in our world, it's imperative that we put the phones down, we disconnect, and we focus on ourselves. Mm-hmm. That we pull ourselves away from that technology and away from that vice that separates us from those around us, so that we can then recharge our own minds and let it wander and daydream and start to break down these issues that we're having or that we may be experiencing in life.
We try to do that. I mean, we have a fancy schedule hanging on our calendar that we wrote out. This week, we sort of, except for Monday was sort of a wash because the Bachelorette was on, and we got everything we needed to do done early. Yeah. But we've tried to set aside parts of the day where we are unplugged and we are recharged, just so we can get the things that we want to get done spiritually together, and also just have that time to just be together like as a couple, because we realized about a month ago, just that like TV and the electronics like at nighttime were really just having a negative effect in our relationship, and just how like we were communicating and how I was feeling. I don't know if you were feeling how I was feeling, but I wasn't. I mean, when I talked to you about it, I wasn't happy with how things were going. But I think since then, like we've improved on it, and it's something that we've been able to stick with. Just sort of getting rid of TV and like our phones. Just during the week in general, right? Like once we're home together.
Right. So we're working on that. The third point is power within the community. It says that participants experience validation within a community. So they always try and make the participants, when they're on these adventure retreats, share their experiences with one another. And these experiences allow us to get rid of shame, fear, or the sense of isolation. So they evaporate, these feelings evaporate as we exchange stories and recognize that our human and relational experiences are more alike than we are different. And for me, this is very important to talk to people, not only within our community, but outside of our community as well, because we start to realize our similarities much more often than our differences with those around us, mm-hmm. and the struggles that they may be facing and that we may be facing as well. So try and find a community. Taylor is actually building her community right now online, trying to find people that relate to her and her past experiences and the stages that she's in life right now. And that's the kind of person she is. Mm-hmm. I'm more of a person who doesn't need a large community. I do enjoy meeting new people and spending time in large social environments. I'm one of the people that gets energized by large social events or living downtown and things like that. Taylor, not so much, right?
No. I don't know. I feel like it's different if I'm around people who I'm really close to. Like they know me so well. They know who I am. They know how to talk to me. I know how to talk to them. And we're just sort of like chill. But if I'm in like a big group of people or maybe a bunch of people I'm meeting for the first time, like I'm fine. Like I can be social and like talk to everybody. I don't have a hard time connecting with others by any means. It's just that if it's anything like prolonged, I get really worn out really fast and I get tired and like, I almost want to say like anxious. I know you hate that word, but like, it's just like, it stresses me out and like makes me nervous. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why. I've always been that way. So I don't know. That's just how I am. But yeah, like having a community and just having, myself being surrounded by women who are similar to I am, or they have the same goals or dreams or passions I do. It's just really empowering. And it, just like puts like my belief even stronger, like in my heart that like I can do like anything like I want. And I'm surrounded by all of these like powerful women who have all done so many great things and all who like want to do all these great things, and just being surrounded by ambitious people just makes me happy. And just people who want to help people and people who like are motivated to change their lives and just take it by the horns and just go for it and become better. I love it. It's so great. So that has been really important and just like, I think almost crucial for me since moving here to Florida, because like when we first moved here, like after leaving Cincinnati with all of my friends, I was so lonely, just like coming home like to you every day, which is fine. But I mean, and like, obviously like we're like best friends before we were even like husband and wife, but I mean, you're not like Lauren or like any of my other best friends. Like it's just like having, especially like another woman, it's just different. So, well,
I can understand who you are. Understanding how you are, that's a little bit more difficult,
right?
Like how you experience like day-to-day difficulties, or even like difficulties of being a woman, and the like standards that you guys are given, like not only in society but by yourselves, and like that trying to attain that bar, and just like the way you think, and that's a little bit more difficult on how. Like understanding the how. And I think that's where you can relate to people who are similar to you. So the Lauren Stahlbaums of the world and the Kaylee Renegers of the world, that you can go and chat with and sort of let loose.
Yeah.
Which you can't exactly do with me, even though we trust each other wholeheartedly, and we can tell each other everything.
I think that it's something I'm getting better at. I just sort of, I don't know. Obviously, you're not my girlfriend, but when I don't have a girlfriend here, you're sort of take on both roles. Right. And I've got 3 older sisters, so I'm used to it. But you're definitely better than the majority of the male population in the world. So probably helped in me marrying you. Yeah. And then the same goes for me, like just being around, right? Or like same goes for me in that I find people who have my similar interests. So whether it be playing video games with my brother online and just chatting for a couple hours, or spending an extra hour and a half after the baseball game just shooting the wind, shooting the breeze with the boys, and chatting about the things that we chat about. So just finding that community is imperative. I think that's like another important thing that like we have that helps keep our relationship strong, just because since right now it is just us and like we don't have a whole lot of like actual friends here in Jacksonville, the fact that we have our own like hobbies and things that we like to do, and that we do take time to go do those things even when we have the choice to spend that time together. I think that time apart actually ends up helping us especially because we can come back together and we can talk about what we did and how we felt and all that stuff.
Yeah. And we talked a lot about this in episode 9. So if you are like, wow, that really resonates with me. It's really hard for me to balance like my personal life and my relationship and then my work and my like school or whatever you're involved in. You guys should go check out episode 9 that we did a couple months back in November, actually, of 2018. And you will be able to see just how we balance our lives. So moving on, the 4th thing that they do is have focused attention. She said there's a heightened sense of intimacy and connection that occurs with your partner when you unplug and give them your loving attention in a majestic and relaxing natural setting. So this is going to sound super corny, and it is, but I challenge anyone who's in a relationship to go out on a long walk and like find a bench somewhere or like somewhere to sit down, and then I triple dog dare you to sit next to your partner, look at them, and not say a single word. Just look into their eyes for 30 seconds. Set a timer on your phone, put it on Do Not Disturb so that it doesn't buzz and it doesn't ring. And then you set it aside and then you just stare into your partner's eyes for 30 seconds. It'll be the longest 30 seconds that you've experienced in a long time. And it might even be the most intimate.
Which I don't even know if we've ever been able to do that. I remember trying.
I for sure know you're going to laugh. Like,
probably. I think I remember trying when we were engaged.
Probably like 18 seconds in, you're just going to like...
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember trying it and it did not last long at all.
I can do it because I'm stubborn, but that's about it. So that's going to be the challenge for this week. Give that focused attention, but do it without focusing on anything else, just your partner's eyes. 30 seconds. Let us know how it goes. You can send us a voice message always at anchor.fm/younglove. Click that big plus button and leave us a minute-long voice message. The last one is shared meaning. So participants create shared meaning as a couple as they experience novelty and wonder through the immersion as a whole. So as we experience things together, we have a shared meaning and we start to build our connection not only with our partners, but with the world around us. And we start to create memories that will forever be carried with us. Right. So that's that. So wherever you live, and I know this for a fact because the biggest cities in the United States are San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York City, all of which you can find nature within an hour and a half's commute.
Right.
So San Francisco, you can drive an hour and a half north and you are in the Redwood Forest, or just not even an hour and a half north, you can get into the Golden Gate Park. It's called something else. Golden Gate Recreation Area. Los Angeles, you've got Joshua Tree. That's probably not an hour and a half drive, but it's real close there. Great place. Or just the beach. Right. Nothing more majestic than a beach, right? With crashing waves. New York City, you've got Central Park. I know that sounds sort of goofy, but if you get right in the middle of Central Park, you sort of get lost.
Yeah.
You can stare out over the big lake there. So those are the extreme situations. So anyone else who's listening to this podcast, you know that there's nature around.
Right.
So grab your partner, be serendipitous, be spontaneous. Go find a plot of nature that you can... We're going to go ahead and take a quick break and we'll be right back with you guys. You can experience Siri's trying to listen in. So we actually did a couple of these quizzes and these interventions, so we're going to go over those.
Well, wait, we had 2 questions. Should we answer those questions?
Sure. We can explain where the questions came from, too.
Oh, I've just posted a little, question. thing. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know what else to call it.
Instagram. Shout out to Instagram.
Yeah.
We have a slight delay. So if you guys have a question and you're listening to us on Instagram right now, there are four of you out there listening live. You can type it right in there to the chat and we'll see it in about 15 seconds is what it looks like. So give us a little wave in the chat as well. If you can hear us, that'd be funny if people can hear us. But if you're listening on the podcast, which quite a few of you do, make sure you go ahead and follow Taylor on Instagram. So her tag is now, it's new. It's called Tay's Best Days. So TAYSBESTDAYS. So Tay's Best Days. That's where we'll go live when we're recording the podcast. And I think we're going to test something else to see if we can both go live at the same time, but be together.
Yeah.
So.
Which I think we can do. I can request you to join.
Right,
so
right.
We should do that next time.
Yeah. So then the camera will be closer and I think you guys will be able to hear us better.
Yeah. Okay. So the 2 questions right now that we have were one. Well, should I start with the not so? How do we make sure that we're communicating well with each other on the daily?
Yeah.
So Josh, how do we make sure that we're still communicating well? Or how have we improved our communication skills over the year and a half that we've been married and the almost 4 years that we've been together? Because we've come a long, long, long way from where we started.
Yeah. So for me, it's making sure that you're actually listening. That's what I have to do. Because oftentimes I will just start talking and explaining, and you aren't listening yet.
Right.
You may be hearing me, but you're not listening, which is a big distinction I always make. So if you're hearing someone, the words are just going in and you're like, yeah. But if you're actually listening, that means you're not doing anything else and you're having a conversation.
Active listening, which I've studied about, so it's a real gut punch because I have been taught on how to do it and how to teach others how to do it. So the fact that I don't always do it is sort of... But I get better at it anyway.
Yeah.
Can you talk? You continue.
And then the other thing is trying to get rid of the same bad habits that I got from my dad. So not to bash my dad or anything. It's not really a bad habit. It's just that we do a lot of thinking in our head. I think that's just an Anderson thing. We all think a lot in our head and our brains are constantly running. So sometimes I'll be thinking something in my head and then I'm like, oh, I should probably share this with Taylor. But instead of starting back where I started, I just immediately start talking wherever my thought process was at the moment.
Right.
And then sometimes you get sort of this deer in the headlights look, what are you talking about? Which you've become a lot more vocal on actually stopping me, wait, what?
Right.
Yeah, you got to go back. Got to go back to the beginning. So making sure that I explain sort of more context, be contextualize more on what I'm coming from, and also slowing down and being more articulate with the points I'm trying to make. So lay them out in the same way that I think about them, because sometimes I'll jump from one explanation to the next without filling in the middle.
Right.
Because in my mind, I'm filling it in, but then I'm making assumptions that you're understanding where I'm going and that you can see where I'm going. Whereas only after a year and a half of living together, I don't think you can make those assumptions yet.
Not yet. Maybe eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
Well, when we get real good at this thing.
Yeah.
I think we still have a long way to go. For me, one thing that helps just for generalized communication, we have not only this big calendar here in our kitchen dining area where we put just the things that we go on, but we also share calendars on our phone. So if he has something going on, I can see on my calendar, or if he plans something that involves me too, I can see it. That way I can also start to plan it, which is super helpful for me because I'm a planner. And I like to have sort of an idea of what every day is going to look at, like way far out in advance, just so I can like mentally prepare myself as well. And then something else I have had to work on, just being more vocal with my expectations and like really get really detailed about them. So like if I want something done, I have to tell them like what I want done, how I want it done, and when I want it done by. Because when we first got married, I'd be like, oh, like, can you do this? And just leave it at that. But that left a lot of room for interpretation. And then I thought he like would just assume what I wanted, and he didn't. And I would get really angry. And then it created a lot of fights. So, but that's gotten a lot better. So now I'm a little bit more specific, and he knows how I am. So like he'll just get it done, and then like, and it's fine. And then like if something bothers me, I think you can comment on this. I think I've gotten a lot better at bringing it up first before you notice it and ask me about it. So like if I'm sad or like upset or something, I'll talk to you about it first. After I've had time to like work it through in my head. And that helps. I think it helps. Well, it helps me because I get to work through it. And then it helps you because I'm actually opening up to you and I'm telling you like what's going on.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
You have gotten better at that. And for the most part, I know when you're not feeling like well, or like when you're a little sad or like you're upset about something. But it's hard to open a locked door.
Right.
So, although I have a key to your heart, sometimes I don't have a key to your thoughts. So,
especially if I don't want to let you.
Yeah. So having you, like letting you just like come to it and then start to like work your way towards the door and unlocking your feelings, and then letting me in to know what you're thinking about and what's going on. And sort of, I've learned to be a little bit more patient versus always trying to fix it as fast as I can.
Right. And it's not even like all the time that something even needs fixed. Like I think the majority of the time, like it's just that I just need to talk through something. I just need you to listen. Which I think is something that we've both learned from, because I feel, well, at least like for me, I thought like whenever there was like a problem, like I was upset, it was always because something needed to be fixed or whatever, but that's not always the case. It's just sometimes I just want to talk and I just want you to listen and just be empathetic, and then we move on and I'm fine.
Yep.
So, next question was, hey mom, was how did we decide to start trying for a baby?
Yeah. We'll talk about that at the end. So
okay.
The one of the quizzes that we took was called the Gottman Enjoyable Conversation Scale. So it's a scale that just starts out with, I enjoy talking to my spouse about, and then it lists off 15 different things that we are supposed to rate from 0 to 100 on how we felt or what we enjoyed talking to our spouse about. So we're not going to talk about the good things. We're going to talk about the bad things. I'll name off my top 5, okay?
Of things that you like to talk about?
Yeah, and you can name off your top 5. So my top 5 were our plans for the future, our dreams in life, our sleep dreams. I think that's so funny. I love talking about my dreams because they're incredibly vivid too. Let's see here. Another 90 is some good times we've had in the past. And the other 90 is silly and fun types of things. So I'm a huge fan of comedy, and I'm becoming a bigger fan of comedy each and every day. So I love talking about just silly and funny things, just because I think those are the best stories.
Right. And did you write down anything? No?
Write down... Oh, I was supposed to... Oh, write down more?
Yeah, anything else that you like to talk about that wasn't on there?
No, I didn't write anything down.
Okay. I wrote really tiny. I should have just been 1 to 10, but I didn't. So some things have like a 76. Let's see. Top of the list was good times we've had in the past. I think that's always fun to talk about. Next is recreation, dates, dinners, and parties, celebrations, holidays. Things that we've accomplished, our dreams in life, and our plans for the future. Those are the highest ones.
So we had dreams and plans for the future.
Yeah, silly and fun types of things. That's pretty high up on there. Other things that I enjoy talking to you about. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I have sex on here. Health, obviously. Just asking questions, talking about outside and nature, and then talking about religion and the gospel and like Jesus Christ.
Nature.
Yeah.
It's so neat.
Those are things I can always talk about.
Cool. So we actually have a lot of conversations. So the worst ones that I don't like talking about are political and current events. That got a whopping 30 from me. Let's see here. The next lowest would be 50, which is casual and informal types of things. I put at 50. I just don't hold much value to the mundane. My next one was a 60, which is something we've recently done together.
Just because if we've done it, we're probably talking about it.
I guess. It's just not enjoyable, I guess, is what I was thinking there. And then a 65 is things that we have to get done around the house.
Oh, okay. So I think this one for us is very similar too, because for political and current events, I put a 10. So I really hate talking about politics. Yeah, that's number 10. The next lowest was a 4, and that's things that we have to do around the house.
No.
Because I like doing them. I like getting them done, but actually talking about it and like thinking about doing it, and I hate it.
Yeah, and we have a 1-bedroom apartment, so it's not even that big of a deal. It's like, oh, we have to do the dishes or vacuum.
I know. The next lowest, those are the 2 lowest. The next are just like 50s and 60s. So I can talk about anything. I didn't even rate the children or grandchildren, because obviously we don't have kids and we don't have grandkids. That'd be weird. So yeah. I don't know. Those are the only 2 things that I really don't like talking about. But I can talk about anything.
So we'll put the links to all of these things in the show notes, so that if you guys are interested in taking some of these quizzes, you can click on the links and print them out yourself. Okay, the next thing is love maps. So this
I think this is a really popular quiz. I think they recommend taking this quiz with your partner like every couple of years, just because like your personal love map and your spouse's love map changes as they develop and they change, and the things that they do and the things that they want to do change. So it's important just to keep revisiting it over the years to make sure you're still staying like up to date on what's happening with your spouse and trying to align 2 different people's lives together as best as possible. So
we decided to just go over the things that we answered false. So they're just statements such as, I can name my partner's best friend, and I can tell you what stresses my partner is currently facing, both of which I answered true.
Same.
So we're just going to go over the things that we answered false so that we can talk about maybe things that we need to understand a little bit better about our partners. So the first one that I answered false was, we'll just go down the list from the top. Mm-hmm. I know the names of some of the people who have been irritating in my partner's current life. You also answered false.
I did. I put question marks next to them.
Yeah.
Wait, so people who have been irritating, not people who currently are irritating?
Who have been irritating. So yeah, currently irritating. It's the same. Yeah.
I don't know.
Same sense.
I mean, I'm pretty chill. I mean, in my life, I'm sure.
Yeah. Is there anyone that's irritating you right now?
Like still, I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like this person, no.
Yeah. I'm not sure anyone's irritating me recently either.
I mean, I'm a type of person too. I mean, I can be confrontational and things need to sort of get handled so I can move on. But for the most part, like I'm really civil. I get along with everyone, cordial. Like I just make friends with everybody. I avoid confrontation, and I don't know. I just choose not to get bothered by people.
Yeah.
So
we're both very similar in the same way, which is probably why we both answered false, because we're like, well, we're not really irritable people. So take that.
So something I put false next to was, I just put maybe, like I can tell you my partner's basic philosophy of life, which I think I know. I don't know if that's changed at all since the last time we've talked about it. So I put it right in the middle of true or false, because I wasn't sure. So what is your current?
No, you got to see if you think it's a maybe.
Oh, I don't know.
Take your wild guess. It's probably true.
A philosophy, that's just like things that like you want to do in life, right?
Your philosophy of life, not your goal. Your basic philosophy, like what's the purpose of life?
Oh. What's your purpose of life?
I have a life plan.
Right, I know that.
Yeah, have you ever read it?
You read some things on the plan to me, but I have not read the entire plan.
It's technically a one-pager if you count front and back.
That's not bad.
Yeah. So, number one is to live in a manner. I'm not going to get it right. I'm going to have to paraphrase my own writing. Paraphrase my own writing. It's to live in such a way that I never am so overburdened or overcome with my own difficulties that I cannot help someone else. So live financially and emotionally in a way where I am always available to help those around me.
Right.
So far, so good. That is my basic philosophy of life. Yeah. Your basic philosophy of life is to lift, encourage, and help those around you feel better about themselves, about their situations, and about their perspective on life.
Well done.
Certified true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our Google Home has been delivered.
That means we're going to get a knock at the door?
No, I think it's waiting in the package room.
Oh.
Okay, I can list my partner's 3 favorite movies. I put false.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I have no idea what your favorite movies are.
Oh, come on.
I have no idea.
You don't know what one of them is?
No, I'd have to guess like a Disney movie. But I don't think so.
I have favorite Disney movies, but I don't know if I would consider it Disney movie.
Your favorite movie? Yeah, no idea. No idea. Now, when you say them, I'll be like, yeah, I can see that. But I have no idea what your favorite movies are.
Like favorite movies are like movies that you can watch over and over and over and over. And
never get tired of them. Yep.
Okay. One. I don't think I'd rank them. I have 3. Rank them in any order, just because I like them all too much. One is Pretty Woman. I love that movie.
Pretty Women?
Pretty Woman.
Oh, it's Pretty Woman.
Pretty
like
Woman.
Single. Wow.
Yeah, and that has.
I've never seen it.
Julia Roberts, I think, in it. It's like I think it was filmed in the 80s.
Whenever Julia Roberts was still.
Yeah.
Or young.
Yeah, but it's about this like girl who's like a streetwalker, but she meets this really handsome, like rich guy, and they end up like falling in love.
Why do you love that movie?
It's fun.
Oh, okay.
I like it.
It's
a cute story. It's rated R, but it's cute. But it's like 80s rated R, so it's not like nowadays rated R. Next is the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Which one? The whole series?
No, the first one. I love the first one. I think it's funny. I love that movie. I've been obsessed with it ever since I was a little girl. I think Jack Sparrow, Johnny Depp, is hilarious and strangely attractive in that movie for being a grumpy pirate. And I have always been obsessed with Orlando Bloom. I think he's really cute. And yeah, I just think it's a fun movie, like just sort of to mindlessly watch. All of these are really like girly movies, I guess, but that's what I like to watch.
What's the third one? Wait, what was the third one?
I didn't name a third one.
Oh, just the two?
Debating.
Oh,
it still is. I think I'm just gonna say The Notebook, which is so stereotypical for being a girl. I know, but it's great. I love it so much. Nicholas Sparks, man.
The Notebook.
Yeah, it's not even a rom-com. It's just a plain romance. Although I feel like I have to reevaluate that movie a little bit as if it's my favorite, because I used to really like it when I was a little bit younger, but like now that I'm older and like it's still cute. It's like it's a cute story, but I don't think I'm that romantic anymore. Like it's really sappy. Like I'll still watch it whenever it's on, but that's really sappy for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So I guess 2. Pretty Woman and Pirates of the Caribbean. Or Caribbean.
Caribbean? Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah.
Okay. What was your next one?
I know your movies. I know 3 times that have been the most special in my partner's life. That's true. I can tell you the most stressful thing that happened to my partner as a child. False. I was going to say
I put
Reggie,
true. Obviously, that's easy.
But I didn't know if that was college. I didn't know if that
constitutes as a child.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was the most stressful either. The biggest tragedies, and Mom and Dad, if you're listening, I don't hold any of this against you, but the things that I hold like as sort of like a mini grudge, like I don't hold them as grudges today because obviously they're in the past. I can't do anything about them. But the things that upset me the most as a child, which would be the most stressful situation to me, because I don't really get stressed in the normal sense as like I can't go on, or like I get disturbed by something. But the things that I feel the most like frustrated about were receiving an invitation to go to a leadership conference in Washington, D.C. at the Capitol building, like with Congress, for a whole week. And my parents said I couldn't go because it was too much money, but I knew that 2 of my sisters were flying to California with the marching band. And I thought it was so ridiculous that I got put on the back burner for them to go to an amusement park in California when I had a chance to go to Congress. So that was like the most stressful thing, I would guess. But then like the other one was not going to Tom Sawyer's Island when I was a child.
Which it's now been fulfilled.
Yeah, now been fulfilled. No longer a grudge. We went to Tom Sawyer's Island when we went to Disney. So, and now I have a T-shirt that my sister made me because it was such a big deal when I was a kid.
Okay, so I guess I did know those. I didn't know that you wouldn't put those as the most stressful things as a kid, though.
Well,
so
like I was very fortunate as a kid.
Right.
Like I grew up in the middle class, not upper, not lower middle class, just normal middle class. Went to a public school. Was never like starving for like ever.
Right.
And never had to deal with like any sort of difficulty or major sickness or like I was very fortunate and very blessed. So I had plenty of opportunities to help other people who were like super stressed out. But other than that, I always felt super capable of myself and like able to overcome whatever came my way. So I've always had sort of that optimism and that hopefulness, that like deep sense of hope that everything's going to be okay. So that was true for me because you had a tragic childhood in your high school years. So I know all about that.
Yeah, for those of you listening who don't know, I struggled with a couple of eating disorders in high school, so I can talk about that another time. But yes, that's what I went through.
My next false was periodically I update my knowledge of my partner's world.
Wait, what?
I think I didn't understand that correctly.
I update my knowledge? Oh, like you just catch up with me?
Yeah.
I think that's what I was trying to say.
No, yeah. Update my knowledge of my partner's world. So like understand what's going on in your world, but I know what's going on. So that would actually be true.
That was your last one?
That was my last false for this page.
Mine was, I know my partner's current worries. I don't know. I think maybe I put false because maybe you aren't worried about anything.
I am.
Oh. Okay.
It's mainly all financial.
Oh.
Because that was actually on a different quiz. It was like goals or roadmaps or something that we took. Mm-hmm. And one of the questions was like me and my partner. Oh, it was on compromise. The compromise quiz. It was like me and my partner have the same financial goals. And that's like a big negative.
Right.
Like if it was up to me, I would be stashing away as much money as possible, like saving for something or paying off all my student loans. Uh-huh. But we're not. And like our savings account slowly dwindles. So,
right.
Or just remains stagnant for months on end.
Right.
So that worries me a lot. That's probably the one thing that I worry about the most. And then, do I worry about anything else? Not really. I mean, I've been worried about sort of personal development lately, but that's not so much of a worry anymore because I'm going back to grad school. Mm-hmm. So I'll be sort of improving myself that way. And also, we have been focusing on you a lot lately and trying to like get your business off the ground and sort of like put you in a good, stable position to keep moving forward. So it doesn't really bother me, but it is something that sort of will pop up every once in a while. Now you know.
Now I know.
You can put true. All right, I flipped over to the back page.
Oh, I didn't know there was a back. Oh, yeah, I did. I did it.
Oh, thanks for watching. No longer live. That's okay.
Yeah, that's probably fine. We'll keep recording on here.
And we're coming up on an hour, so woo woo.
Almost done.
Long episode.
And I have to eat this without people seeing me.
Yeah, Tay's gonna eat a breadstick.
Woo! Carbs are life.
Carbs for life. Whoa, you have one false on the whole page. Well, take it away, sister.
Oh. Okay.
I've got 3.
Oh.
What'd you hit?
All right. Fondness and admiration.
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
Okay. We rarely go to sleep without some show of love or affection. I put false.
Oh, I also put false. Yeah. I was like, dang, I put true on that. Gosh. I'm feeling deprived of my fondness and admiration. Okay, so the front page was love maps, which is sort of like understanding each other. The back page is fondness and admiration system, which is exactly that, showing our fondness and admiration for each other. So one false. Okay, we both put false. We rarely go to sleep without some show of love or affection. We always go to sleep with some love. Yeah.
Unless I'm asleep and you're trying to wake me up and I'm just dead.
Yeah. So the 2 that I have false on this are, I often find some way to tell my partner I love you. I put down false because I'm humble enough and self-aware enough to understand that I've become less romantic.
True.
As a married man than I was as a courting man.
Very true.
So,
unfortunately.
Yeah. And oftentimes I blame that on our situation. I'm always like, well, I don't have my own car, so I can't like sneak out and go do something. But you find little ways to like show your love and admiration. So I can take from your example and be better. So I put false. And then I often touch or kiss my partner affectionately. And we took these quizzes like a month ago. I've done pretty well in the last month.
You have, and it surprised me.
Yeah.
Like today, I was on my phone this morning, about to cry. I don't know if you could tell. You went to kiss me, and my lips started doing the thing where they shake. And then you looked at me like, afterwards, and then I played it off. But I think you saw right through it.
I did. So, although I put false a month and a half ago, in the last month and a half, I think I've been a true.
Yeah. You've gotten better.
Yeah.
I starred when I come into a room. My partner is glad to see me, so I don't know if I was questioning that or not. But I starred it.
You put true.
So I don't know.
Started as something special or something questionable?
I don't know. Are you glad to see me? When I
am always glad to see you.
Okay.
Even when you frustrate me, I think I brush off frustration far quicker than you do. Because I can always...
Well, you can laugh about it quicker.
Yeah, I can always see the comedy in a situation.
And I just sort of get pissed when you're laughing and I'm so angry.
Yeah.
Like last night when we were kayaking, you would just laugh and I would instantly get pissed off.
Yeah. But then laugh a minute and a half later.
Right.
Yeah, you're just on a minute and a half delay.
We'll call it, I'm younger than you. So
because you're younger?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
I think you're emotionally more mature though, just because of the trials that you've had to go through emotionally.
Probably. But we're pretty close. I feel like stubbornness wise, we're pretty close. It just depends on the things that we're stubborn about in the moment.
Yeah. All right. Well, enough of that. We've got these quizzes here, and we filled out a lot more. So we'll come back to them in the future. Clink.
Oh, no. We were going to...
I know. We're not brushing off the question from Instagram.
Wait, can I have some of that water?
Is what I was going to say, is I'm not brushing off the question from Instagram about having a child. So, do you want to lead that? Oh, wait. I guess you could drink out of my glass if you want. The question was, in case you stopped this podcast and started it 3 days later, like I do sometimes with my podcasts, the question was, how did we decide? Is that what it was? How did we decide that it was time to try for a baby? Do you want to start on that one? Because it was more your decision than mine.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't mad about it because the sex is better, but.
True. I'm trying to think of when I started thinking about it. It was a decision that I sat on before I even brought up to you for almost a month, probably a month, maybe a little over a month.
Yeah.
I sat on it by myself, for a long time. So I think I started thinking about it, around, a little bit before your birthday. So last September,
And for those who are unaware of our personal story, we got married in March, and my birthday's in September. So that's a 6-month anniversary conversation.
So I started thinking about it then, but I was in denial. I kept shrugging it off. I was no, why am I thinking about this? That's weird.
Yeah. Why were you in denial?
Because I wasn't ready. I was I don't want to have kids right now. What the heck?
Also, before, just to rewind even more, before we even got married, Taylor told me, not me telling Taylor told me that she would like to wait 5 years before we have a kid.
5 years?
Because she wanted to get to know each other and travel together and all this other stuff before we had kids. Fast forward 6 months after getting married, Taylor's having these thoughts. Okay, go.
Yeah. And so that's what was going through my head when I first started having these thoughts. I no, this isn't my plan. I don't want to have kids right now. Go away. Leave me alone. Thoughts didn't go away. They kept coming. And at this point, I was still working at the preschool, but I was getting ready to quit almost. And I was working with the babysitters. I don't know if that had something to plan it, but I don't think so because I don't know.
Even after you left, you still wanted to. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I was having all these thoughts and I was like, no, like whatever. But then I started having like dreams about it. And then like in my dreams, it would be like situation of I was worried about for like not being able to like make it work if I would have kids right now. But then my dream would be like a solution, like how we would be able to make it work. So then like these things just kept happening. And so I started to get more okay with the idea, I guess. Meanwhile, Josh still had no idea that I was thinking anything of this. So by the time I had like finally accepted it, because I started feeling like if we were to start trying now, that it was going to take it was going to take a little bit. And I didn't really know like if that was going to be the case or like what that meant, that like it was going to happen immediately. So one day we were like in the shower together and I brought it up to him. And what was your reaction, Josh, when I said, hey, I think we should start trying to start our family?
I believe my reaction was, and correct me if I'm remembering incorrectly, was give me a month to think about it.
Right. And
to like go over it in my head. And then after that 1 month, I said, I want to talk to my dad about it, but I want to talk about it in person. So give me till Christmas.
Yeah, which was
like another month.
Yeah.
Ish. Month and a half.
So at this point, I had been thinking about it for
like 3 months.
Yeah, 3 going on 4 months.
At Christmas time? Yeah.
It was like, almost 4, almost 5 months of me thinking about it. And then you, like, dealing with it.
Right. And it's not like I don't want to have kids.
Right.
Like, I'm perfectly fine with the idea of having kids. I've also had more, like, I guess I don't want to say more, but I have had a considerable amount of intimate time with children. Like, you watch children and nanny them, but when you're getting paid for it, I don't think it's the same as like experiencing your own nieces and nephews.
Right.
So like I've got a couple nieces and nephews and a couple of them are screamers and I didn't like that at all. So I didn't feel like I was too prepared for it. And then when I talked to my dad about it, he had some very sound advice and just said, if they come, they come. If they don't, they don't. And you sort of go from there. Because I think as many of the parents out there who listen to this podcast will understand and probably chuckle when they hear this portion of the podcast today, is that you can't really prepare for a kid.
Right.
Like people are always like, oh, I'm going to get a dog first. And if I can keep a dog alive. But like somebody made a really good point the other day. And I can't remember who I was talking to. But like a puppy. Oh, I was at baseball. That's what I was doing. I'm pretty sure I was at baseball talking to everybody after the game. And they were like, well, like a puppy, when it's 2 months old. Oh, JK, this was on a podcast. That's where it was. I just listen too much to like a lot of stuff, but I don't listen to audiobooks. I listen to podcasts. Anyways, they said that like, if you think about it, the human race is so fragile because we have to like swaddle and like care for our younglings until they're like, what, a year and a half or 2 years old? Like if a 2-year-old stumbles off into the wilderness, like he's toast.
Right.
But like a 2-month-old puppy, if he gets left out in the woods, can probably fend for himself.
Right.
And like figure out a way to get it done. Mm-hmm. And then like Gus is like 2 years old. Well, 3 now. And we can leave him at home for 9 hours at a time and he's fine. If you leave a 3-year-old child at home for 9 hours at a time, that sucker's toast.
Yeah.
It's going to be poop all over the place. And so like, yeah, a puppy's not really any preparation for a kid. So I'm good for it now though. So how we decided was I talked to my dad and he sort of reassured me. And then obviously I trust Taylor and her intuition. And And if she's ready for it, I think it'd be a really good thing for us to go through together and to start our family. So.
And I'm glad that, we started trying when we did, because, now we're in the reality where, like, we are trying now, and we've been trying. I've been off birth control since, like, before your birthday. So, like, since October.
Right.
So, technically you could say that we've been trying for almost, like, 10 months now.
I wouldn't say that.
Like, unprotected sex.
Well, yeah, unprotected sex, but that's not trying to have a kid.
Right. Okay, yeah. But still, like, it's
because
taken
even
us, it has been taking, like, so far taken us a while.
Yeah, like, we're not pregnant.
Right.
That's all you really need to know, right?
Yeah.
But, like, some people, like, are strict, like, oh, I want to have a kid. I'm going to take my temperature every morning, and I'm going to take an ovulation test every day. Right. And then, like, I'm going to mark it on a calendar very specifically. And then I'm going to map this month. And the next time when I have my period, I'm going to start counting every minute until that exact time when my ovulation test was the exact moment and my temperature was exactly this degree. And I know that I'm dropping an egg, and I'll feel it descend my ovarian tube or fallopian tube. And then I'll then I will insert and we will get it done. I'm like, no. Yeah. We haven't done that. That's trying. That's trying. Yeah, I'm not. I don't take my temperature every day, but I do everything else. Yeah. Adding temperature in is like the next step, and like getting medical help. But like we haven't exhausted all of our options. Yeah. So trying. I always tell people when they're like, "Oh, are you guys trying to have a kid?" I always say we're not avoiding it. Yeah. Well, that's all I always say, and it's like a perfect explanation because then they understand. Right. Like, oh, she's not on the pill, and you're definitely not using any type of protection. So yeah, we're not avoiding it. Yep. And that's how we decided. So we'll see. And we're only in a 1-bedroom right now, so that will change probably when our lease is up next year. Hopefully. Oh, we'll see. We're out of here, and we're probably just gonna rent out a house. Yeah. Yeah. The prices for 2 bedrooms in Jacksonville is ridiculous for apartment wise. Yeah. So let's get a bigger space. We'll probably just move to a house. Yeah. And that way Gus will have a yard to go in. And then I can have like an at-home gym, and if I want to buy weights and stuff. And right. Yeah. So it'll happen eventually, I guess. When they come, they come. So they say. Yeah. All right. That's all we got for today. That's all, folks. We are going to start... Actually, this is very exciting because I've said this probably 3 or 4 times already that we're going to start having guests, but we are recording this on a Friday night, and tomorrow morning our first guests will be here at the table recording with us. It only took us like over a year. No, not yet. Not yet. We're close. Oh. Almost a year. Close. So yeah, guests, different experiences, talking about love and their relationships and sort of how they get through it. So we're looking forward to them tomorrow morning and releasing their episode as soon as we can. So make sure you follow us on all social medias. It's at Young Love PC, wherever you distribute your media socially. And this podcast is always hosted by Anchor and will forever be hosted by Anchor and can be found wherever you listen to podcasts. We love you. We cherish you.